Hello, my name is Matilda Medora Marsroad. I'm here today to meet with some very important people. But before we get started, here's what you need to know. Over 400,000 people have been captured and taken to prison camps in the Civil War. 45,000 of those people go to Andersonville, and 13,000 of those have died of disease or starvation. I was fortunate to interview two wives whose husbands died in Andersonville and a Confederate soldier from Andersonville. Hello, and thank you for joining us today, Mrs. Andrews and Mrs. Fink.
Our pleasure.
Would you please tell me about your beloved late husbands?
My husband died of starvation. They would only feed the prisoners less than 1 pound of food a day.
And they were not even given clothes or a bed to lay their heads on.
Can you tell me about the South and how they're treating their prisoners?
It's horrible.
I agree.
But the South is claiming that the Northerners are running the prisons the same way.
We would never treat human beings as animals.
We treat our people right.
Thank you for joining us today, ladies.
Our pleasure.
Anything to get out this news of this unfair treatment.
Isn't that such a sad story? Women losing their husbands to this terrible war and having them captured and getting sent to Andersonville to die? Now we'll be having an inside look from a guard at Andersonville. He's going to tell us how the treatment there isn't any different. Hello and welcome, Officer Jubal Chestnut. So tell me about yourself.
Thank you for having me. I have been an officer for 20 years and I'm fighting to keep our slaves.
How are you required to treat your prisoners?
Exactly how they treat our men, like slaves.
How exactly is that?
We barely feed them and we give them rags for their clothing. They deserve it for talking bad to us in our ways of life.
I have talked to some Northerners who lost their husbands to Andersonville. They say your prisons are worse than theirs. What do you have to say about that?
Well, my brother got captured and sent to one of those northern prisons. I don't know if he's dead or alive. He's probably being treated just like the prisoners at Andersonville, which does kind of scare me.
All right, thank you for joining us this evening, Officer Chestnut.
My pleasure.
We have learned so much about these prisons and their harsh treatment to their prisoners. They don't give enough food or clothes. Many die of starvation and diseases they get from the animals they catch and eat running around the prison, mainly rats. Lots of people have lost their brothers, husbands, sons, and fathers to these prisons. But what is worst of all is that these prisons aren't changing, and their reasoning is that's what the other side is doing. It's horrible and it needs to stop. That's all we have for today. I'm Matilda Medora Merce Road. Thanks for joining us on DMH News.